Okay. There we go. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I want to be really respectful of your time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just to kind of recap for you last night, if you were not able to join, we talked primarily about fatigue and brain fog and how those are some of the most common symptoms that we experience. Maybe not at the same time, maybe at the same time. I know I have experienced both of those at different times throughout the years. But there's such a huge gut brain connection, and there's such a huge connection with our nervous system and our gut. Everything is kind of intricately related. And so we talked a lot about that last night. And when we have disruptions in the gut microbiome, we get inflammation, we have stress. Just a second, you guys, let me stop. Somebody else is, I think, coming in. So here we go. Okay, there we go. So as I was saying, when we have these disruptions in the gut microbiome, we have inflammation that causes extra stress on our body, on our immune system. Sorry, you guys, I'm managing the waiting room too. And from that can actually cause us to experience fatigue. We talked about that last night. We talked about how poor balance in the microbiome also affects our sleep. And obviously, when we don't get enough sleep, we can be fatigued, we can lack focus. Those things are very common. And one of the main reasons that our microbiome gets out of balance is all of these toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis. And so we went over a lot of that last night and kind of some tangible takeaways. So again, you can go back and access that recording if you weren't able to be on live. Tonight, though, I want to kind of wrap up, and I'm going to give you next steps of what we can do to correct some of these issues that we have. But tonight, I want to focus on weight gain and how this really relates back to gut issues often. Now, there are certainly a lot of causes for weight gain, right? If you're, eating junk and overeating and eating out all the time and you're not moving your body, then of course, that can lead to some weight gain. But what I see a lot is people who are doing all the right things. They're eating a pretty healthy diet. I mean, no one's perfect. They're doing some sort of exercise, some sort of daily movement, working on some of the foundational things like sleep and stress and hydrate, making sure you're staying hydrated, but they're not losing any weight and they're not at a healthy weight. So I just saw a client who really, this was actually, and this was before I even, actually, I had already planned to do this webinar, but I saw her last week. So it was just kind of interesting. It was someone who had done a GI map, and she was telling me that she was doing this online program, which I'm actually familiar with the program. It is, it's a program that gives you a specific workout and then also, guidance on diet. And I think the program is great. I actually had considered doing it for the workouts at one time. So I knew the exact program she was doing. And she showed me her diet and, kept a diary, and she's eating really clean. And she's like, over the past 4 months, I've gained 20 pounds. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of a lot. And it wasn't like, it was all muscle that she had put on or something like that, So she was extremely frustrated, understandably so, especially because she had been following this program. So again, she did a GI map. And the thing was, it was really interesting. She didn't actually have a lot of pathogens. Really, she had like 1 or 2 opportunistic bacteria that were overgrown, but what she had was extremely bad dysbiosis. So she had extremely low good bacteria levels. And then she had a few opportunistics that were overgrown, but her good bacteria were extremely low. Some of them not even detected at all. So that is really a big issue for her. So we're going to work on that. And we're also going to work on clearing out built up toxins, because this goes for any of us. If we are overloaded with toxins and, our detox and drainage pathways are not open, then it doesn't matter if we're trying to kill off pathogens, they're not going to be released from our body. And all of that relates back to our weight, which I'm going to explain to you in just a minute. But this scenario that I just gave you, really the toxin overload, and we all have some pathogens that, this applies to all of us. So you don't really even need a test to show that. So if you have any, whether it's weight gain, it's fatigue, it's brain fog, then again, you have to look at the gut and have to have good balance there, or else you're going to experience some of these symptoms. Also, another thing I want to mention is just from the clients that I have worked with, probably over the last 4 years, it's probably around 200 different people that I've worked with in terms of just GI mapping. And so I've got, a lot of data there. And I looked back through the data, which I like to do, to just kind of see kind of what the average in different things are, and patterns and things like that. And so what I found is we typically have about an average weight loss of 10 pounds. Now, if someone is, at their ideal weight, it doesn't mean you're going to lose 10 pounds. It means if you have that weight to lose, then that's kind of an average. I worked with a client, this was probably a couple years ago, and it was interesting. She was a little bit overweight, not terribly so, but at the end of her protocol, she had lost 13 pounds. And so we were talking about that, and she said, I didn't really do any of the diet or other stuff that you asked me to. So she meant like the lifestyle stuff, drinking plenty of water, exercising, controlling stress, sleeping, make sure you're getting proper sleep. She said, I did take all the supplements just like you told me to, and she lost 13 pounds. And when we retested her microbiome she had a lot of dysbiosis as well. She was much more balanced. And there's never really probably going to be a perfect balance, but that just kind of was good. To me, it was like good kind of proof that once we balance everything, your body does naturally start to release weight, which is what we want. We want it to be done, because we are getting to the root cause, not because we are taking some type of, diet pill, or we're doing all these extremes with exercise and extreme dieting and all of that, because as you know, that's not sustainable. So I want to talk about how all of this actually works and why healthy weight management is really dependent on.
Are you going?
Uh-oh. Hang on, let me make sure everybody's muted. There we go. Okay. Why healthy weight management is dependent on a healthy gut and also removing toxins from the body. So in terms of toxins, how do toxins actually affect our weight? Well, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 different ways. So toxins affect our hormones. You probably know that, we're exposed to tons of toxins. What did we say? 700,000 chemicals and toxins every single day. That's what the data says, which is crazy. That's a ton. Let me see. Okay. Sorry. I was just checking the chat. So toxins affect our hormones, and especially hormones that involve metabolism. So things like insulin, leptin, and ghrelin, which are our hunger hormones, our thyroid hormone, cortisol. So really, most all of our hormones are affected by toxins. And if we have, a high toxic load in the body, so to speak, and we talked about that last night as well, that we're never going to be able to get rid of all of the toxins that we're exposed to. It's just the world that we live in. But the more that we can remove toxins from our body, from our environment, from our diet, the better off, the healthier overall that we're going to be, and are going to be able to get rid of some of these symptoms that we have and kind of be at our highest state of wellness. The second thing that toxins do is they increase something called inflammatory mediators in the body. And what these inflammatory mediators do is they affect insulin resistance. They also affect leptin resistance. So again, leptin is the hormone that inhibits appetite. So it tells you like, okay, I'm full, let's stop eating. Well, if you have resistance to that hormone, then you're likely just to keep eating and eating and eating. And it also just affects your appetite levels, these inflammatory mediators. The third thing is toxins actually can affect the function of our mitochondria, which are we think of it as the powerhouse of our cell. That's what gives us energy. And they do that by damaging certain enzymes that affect oxidation and something called thermogenesis. Now, why is that important? It's important because it reduces our body's ability to burn fat. So you could be exercising all you want to, you're wanting, to burn off some fat and calories. And, if you have these toxins built up and they're affecting your mitochondria and this oxidative process and thermogenesis, you're not able to burn fat like you should. So hopefully like all this is making sense and, dots are connecting. The fourth thing is toxins increase the workload of your liver. I mean, that probably is a no-brainer. You probably could have figured that out, right? But if your liver is clogged and sort of like backed up, think of it that way, you're not going to eliminate toxins properly. Therefore, you're going to hold on to chemicals, toxins, and it's going to be stored in fat. And so therefore, you're going to be overweight. So hopefully, again, all of that made sense. Now, obviously, in the modern world that we live in, our bodies just can't really keep up with the constant barrage of, sorry, let somebody else in here. There we go. With kind of the constant barrage of environmental and dietary toxins. Toxins that interfere with metabolism and cause weight gain. They do that even when we're eating the right things, right? You could be eating a healthy diet, but let's say you just have years of toxins built up, or let's say you have lots of chemicals in your home through personal care products, or cleaning products, something like that, or candles and plugins and all of that. All of that matters and increases your toxic load. So as we become more toxic, again, we gain weight, and can lead to obesity. It's estimated that 70% of Americans are overweight. And so again, these toxins are endocrine disruptors. They affect our hormones. And then the gut microbiome, not only do we get inflammation there from the toxins, but it contributes to like a full body inflammation. And a lot of that, there's an inflammatory response throughout the body. We can get things like leaky gut. That leads to increased fat storage, insulin resistance. And there was actually a study that looked at people who were overweight and that they had lower good gut bacteria and lower diversity. So they didn't have that diverse microbiome that we want and, that we want to create. And so that's why the patient that I was telling you about, and most of the patients that I see, once we rebalance the microbiome, if they're overweight and there is weight there to release, then, that starts to come off once we kind of remove the toxins and rebalance the microbiome. So the bottom line really is, if you want to maintain a healthy weight, you have to look at the gut, but also not overlook toxins and toxic, buildup in the body. So where can you start? Where would we start with, let's say you have any of these symptoms that we've talked about. Maybe you do want to release some weight. Maybe it's fatigue and brain fog, like we talked about last night. First of all, foundational habits. I went over that last night. Foundational habits are things like making sure you're hydrated, managing your stress levels as best you can, whether that's through going for a walk, prayer, meditation, using things like essential oils. Also sleep, making sure you're getting proper sleep, because if we're not sleeping, that's when our body repairs from everything that's happened to it throughout the day. And so not only are you going to be tired and probably not think clearly, your body's not going to be at its highest state of wellness if you're not getting sleep. So that's another foundational habit. We also talked about, again, removing toxins, maybe starting with just one area. Maybe it's your cleaning products and you still use things like bleach and Lysol and things like that. You can really improve your environment. Our homes are one of the most toxic places that we go every day, so to speak. I mean, our homes, we bring so many things that are toxic into them. So you can just start by changing out some of those products. Maybe you start with the cleaning products. Baking soda, vinegar, and some essential oil like lemon will clean almost everything in your house. And so it's a lot cheaper too. So you'll save money as well. And not only saving, your health, because the other thing that these toxins do is they damage our cells. They cause inflammation and they damage our cells. And so two things that are at the root of most diseases are inflammation and damaged cells. So we will be less likely to develop diseases, develop things like cancer, if we can remove some of these toxins. Again, we'll never be able to get rid of all of them. So you want to make sure that you are, and obviously diet and moving your body every day. You want to make sure those are all of kind of like the basic foundational habits. So you want to make sure that you're working on those things. And I would just say, it's not, nobody's ever perfect. I mean, I have some habits that I've created over the years, and sometimes they fall off and I'll think, oh gosh, I've got to get back to X, like whatever it is. Sometimes for me, it's water. I don't drink enough water throughout the day, even though I know, but if I'm not tracking it, then I don't drink as much as I should. So, I think health is just kind of, it's like this, it's kind of up and down, right? Sometimes we fall off of the habits, but you just have to think tomorrow's a new day. Okay, I'm going to get back on. I'm going to get back into, or I'm going to create this new habit that I know is foundational to my health. Now, the next step I think is really important is to check some foundational labs. And I'm going to kind of share with you in just a minute what some of those labs would be. But and this would be like at least annually, you would want to have most providers that you go to are going to check some foundational labs. Maybe not all of the ones that I'm going to mention to you, but it's important because we kind of have to know where we're at. We want to know if, gosh, the things that we're doing, the lifestyle that we're living, I mean, are things showing up that, are kind of clues to us that, hey, something's going on. We have to kind of know where we're at. So foundational labs are important. And then once you have that, I would say beginning to detox and remove toxins from your body, start doing some things like removing them from your home, all of that. But our bodies need help. Yes, our bodies are really smart and they do detox in some ways every single day. But when they are overloaded with toxins, things start to back up and clog up, and then we start to develop symptoms. So we need to kind of give our body some extra support to remove the toxins, remove pathogens, and then rebalance everything. So now I want to kind of go over with you. I put together, and this is interesting. I went to a webinar, or not a webinar. It was actually an in-person event, conference would be a better term. I don't know, several months ago, and there were lots of physicians. I mean, it was a functional medicine conference, and there were several chiropractors there, and there was one that shared sort of what he does in his practice. And I thought it was just really great the way he had things set up. And so that's similar to what I have set up and now am offering. So I want to share it with you guys just so you kind of understand and take advantage of it if you want to. So how to get started is, first of all, you would need your labs, right? So to order the labs, now maybe you've already been to a provider and you have baseline labs. That's okay. You can use those labs. You don't have to get more labs. But I've had several people ask me about reviewing their labs and then also medications and supplements, because that's the other thing. A lot of people want to get off of medications right? Now, I will not be giving advice to stop taking a medication because that's between you and your medical provider. However, I can give you ideas of and suggestions that you can take back to your provider if you're on a pharmaceutical that you want to get off of. But supplements is another big thing as well. I see so many people who are on tons of supplements. We talked about this last night. They don't even know why they're taking them. And are they even doing any good? And should they be on them? I mean, once you get into the supplement world, I get it. You can start going, well, maybe I need this, and maybe I need this, and maybe I need this. And next thing you know, you're taking 20 supplements a day. Are they all necessary long-term? Maybe not, so what the 197 is for is to order labs, review labs, and review medications and supplements. Now, I will also be available to guide you through the whole detox process, which I'm going to talk about that in just a second. The cost of the labs, I don't upcharge any labs that I order. A lot of practitioners will order the labs and then upcharge them. I just have you pay the lab directly because I don't upcharge anything like that. So the foundational labs are these 9 different labs: a CBC, a complete blood count with differential, a CMP, which is a complete metabolic panel, which is basically looking at all of your electrolytes, your kidney function, your liver function, a lipid profile, a cortisol level, a homocysteine level, a thyroid panel, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and a CRP, which stands for C-reactive protein. So those are sort of foundational labs that you need to have checked annually. And you can even write this down, take it to your provider. If you're like, oh, well, I have a general practitioner that I see every year and they order some labs on me. Well, if they don't order all of these, just ask them to add them on. But if you wanted me to order the labs for you, then the cost that you pay to the lab is $95.25. That's the exact cost. When I went in and plugged everything into the lab that I would send you the order through. Now, you will have to pay a phlebotomy cost when you go and get the blood drawn, and that's based on your insurance. But I'm told it's anywhere from $20 and it could be up to $80. That's what I'm told by the lab. So that would be something that you would want to check on. Okay. Just so you know. And then the next step would be, so you have your foundational labs. We've reviewed the labs. We've reviewed your medication and supplements. Then you want to start the detox process, right? So this is a process of not only detoxing, opening the drainage pathways. It's also about removing pathogens, rebalancing the gut, and supporting the immune system. So the supplements are roughly about $200. That's an average a month for the 4 months. I mean, supplements are not cheap. You guys probably know that if you've taken any supplements, right? So I'll give you an idea. So month 1 is all about energy and drainage. So we're opening the detox and drainage pathways. And there's also some products. The nice thing is there's only typically 4, maybe 5 products each month. So it's not, it could be a lot more than that. Some detox programs are, and some of these are liquid. And so you can just put them in a little bit of water. So they're not all pills. So it's actually very minimal pills to swallow, which I think is kind of nice. But like the first month is all about energy and opening the detox and drainage pathways. The cost for that month is around $230. But then the next month is all about clearing out the pathogens in the gut and supporting the immune system. And it's about $185. So that's why I said the average is about $200, just to kind of give you guys an idea. If you decide you want to go through this 4-month program, kind of an average cost. Month 3 is supporting the whole body, and we start to remove toxins, not just from the gut, but from the entire body, and work on inflammation. Month 4 is very similar. It's more of a systemic detox and inflammation. So that's kind of gives you an idea of, if you choose to go through the detox program, the cost and kind of what we're working on. And I'll be giving you education around the products and things every month. So you'll get that as well. Now, for the next 48 hours, I am offering, because really the only thing that I can discount is my cost to review the labs and review your medications and supplements. So I am going to discount that to, it's only $107. I mean, that's like not a lot really when you're looking at, reviewing things and giving you feedback on all of that. That'll be available for 48 hours. I'm going to give you the link for that in the chat in just a minute. So the way that this would work is if you decided that you wanted to get your labs done, whether you already have them or you want me to order them, you would just let me know that. Either way, you would purchase it's just called the Foundational Labs package. I'll give you the link. You would purchase it for $107. Then, we would be in contact. You would let me know, okay, I need you to order the labs for me, or no, I don't, I have the labs. Then either way, once we have the labs, the results, I would review them, review your medication and supplements and give you feedback on that. And then I would send you a link to order your supplements. So it's that easy. I mean, it's not something that's really complex, but that's kind of how the whole process would work. And again, and it's really not just about fatigue, brain fog, weight loss. I mean, there's a lot of other symptoms that we could probably get rid of if we not only get rid of toxins, but also rebalance the gut microbiome and decrease inflammation. I am actually towards the end of this protocol. It's actually called a foundational protocol right now. And I love the products. I mean, I researched them beforehand. There was a lot of practitioners already using them. And so that's why I decided I always like to do things myself. If I'm going to recommend them, I want to see how they, work. And so that way I can kind of give feedback. But I really, really like them. And so I'm excited for you guys if you want to try them as well. Let me stop sharing so that you can think of any questions you have, but also I want to pull up the link and I can put it in the chat, and that way you can just copy and paste it. Now I will go ahead and send this out in an email as well, so you'll get that as well. But this is just the link for the package. Anybody have any questions that you can think of? Actually, I'm right at 30 minutes, which is what I was hoping to stay in. So, okay. I know it's like a super, super long link, but you can copy and paste that and keep it on your computer. Again, I'll send it out in an email as well as the recording. Any questions you guys have?